We're going to hear a very brief excerpt from the book read by Neil Nunes, who is a famous Radio 4 announcer. I hope you'll recognize his voice instantly. We've recorded this because he actually is on Radio 4 right now as we speak, so was unable to join us. The scene he reads briefly from is one of the opening scenes in the book. And basically what has happened is that Philippa Foot, a very glamorous and attractive foreign secretary, and most people who've read the book said they find it hard to believe that someone quite so beautiful could be in the cabinet. Because remember, there is an old aphorism that politics is show business for ugly people. So unfortunately, it is true that there is a gorgeous foreign secretary who is being stalked and menacing messages are arriving from a stalker. And the Foreign Office have hired in William James, who's the hero of the book, to join FTAC, this unit which really does exist, the Fixated Threat Assessment Center, to analyze the letters and try to work out what's going on. And again, there's a lot of real stuff that's in the book. Every single assassination of a public figure that's occurred in the last 60 years by a lone individual, if a lone wolf character has carried out the assassination or the assassination attempt, not an organization, but a lone character, that lone character has usually been disturbed in some psychiatric sense and has usually sent a threatening letter or message before. So the ability to analyze which crank mail that arrives through your letterbox, if you're a celebrity or a politician, is really, really from someone who's really dangerous, or just crank mail from someone who's not dangerous, that's never going to visit, is actually a crucial forensic psychiatry question. So William gets called in by Philippa, who is getting anxious about these menacing messages. And William, unfortunately, falls instantly and deeply in love with the Foreign Secretary. But of course, it's an unrequited love. And he, being a shy, geeky chap, an anorak who reads a lot of journals at weekends, hasn't got the guts to do anything about the fact that he is deeply and passionately in love with the Foreign Secretary, who he's meant to be protecting from some disturbed stalker. So after the initial incident where a stalker makes contact for the first time but escapes from the police, and the other character that in this reading is the assistant commissioner, who is the head of police who's in charge of trying to protect Philippa Foot, the foreign secretary, William makes a prediction. And throughout the book, all his predictions, by the way, are based on real forensic psychiatry science. He makes a prediction that there will be a gift arriving from the stalker as the next phase. And the AC, the assistant commissioner, is dismissive of William's prediction because, and I'm not saying this has any element of truth in real life, the police often in the book dismiss psychiatry as an approach to dealing with villains, or punks, as the assistant commissioner keeps calling them. So William makes a prediction there will be a gift, but the assistant commissioner says, don't be ridiculous, we screen her mail, she's got 24-hour protection, there's no way a gift can get through. Anyway, Philippa comes home one evening, and despite the fact there's security all around her house, she goes into her bedroom and discovers a bunch of roses scattered on her bed that had been left by the stalker, which is a very creepy incident. And by the way, based on a true incident. I won't reveal who that happened to, but again, a lot of the incidents in the book are real, but are written in a way that disguise them from the real incident. So she's incandescent with fury, and the AC has been beckoned and called in, and they're examining the crime scene with William in the bit that you're about to hear. And the other thing that happens in this scene is that William is wandering around the house trying to work out the psychology of Philippa. He's a bit distracted by that. He should be really working out the psychology of the stalker, but he's a tad distracted. And another thing that I've noticed, because I have in my private practice been known to see the occasional celebrity, is how celebrities need other celebrities to endorse their own fame. Their own measure of fame is what other famous person they know. I was once in a lift to a charity event full of celebrities, and the lift got stuck between floors. And one celebrity got onto the intercom and said, in no uncertain terms and a sense of entitlement, the lift is stuck, and it's full of celebrities, the celebrity said. And then their child got onto the intercom and said, and the children of celebrities. Anyway, so that's partly why you're going to hear what you hear, which is as William wanders around the flat. The other quick thing to say, there's an abbreviation that we need to explain called SOCO. SOCOs are scenes of crime officers. So they've obviously been at the crime scene and tried to analyze what the crime scene says. Okay, let's hear the reading from Neil.
William had been following the trail of ebony-framed black and white photographs all the way from the living room. Each one was of the Foreign Secretary, adorned by a celebrity. On the ground floor, plainly for public consumption, were images of Philippa, beaming out as Mandela seemed to be almost nuzzling her hair, and Obama, looking pleased with himself for making her laugh. In the atrium was Hollande, nervously checking on his current partner as the Foreign Secretary cozied up to the French president. Clinton was writing something down, her private number perhaps? She never said that anything on the walls was taken, the AC said. She won't have noticed, William responded. She was probably too preoccupied with the roses on her bed. How do you know it's missing? Neither of us have been in here before. Up the stairs the dictators marched, Middle Eastern and African potentates, arms folded, and here Philippa was more demure, embarrassed perhaps to have just signed some weapons deal. Those pictures must have been from when she spent that frustratingly long time at the Ministry of Defense, before securing promotion to the Foreign Office. Black and white photography didn't do her justice. It didn't capture the flecks of burnt sienna in her hair, though each frame did reveal she had found yet another fresh way of blushing, nearly always with her gaze. If you look at these other walls, you can see they've been arranged according to a pattern. And that would mean there should be one there. But look, a hook with nothing on it. When they had reached the landing and approached the privacy of the upper floors, William had noted who she felt genuinely intimate with. Actors, elite athletes, and Formula One drivers jostled to get into her bedroom. And here, in the inner sanctum, sweaty and hairy-looking rock stars obligingly screamed something for the camera, while Philippa grinned mischievously into the lens. He might be newly recruited into FTAC, the elite unit designated to protect high-profile public figures from stalking intimidations. But were there hints from the Mansion House evening that she might be progressing William from purely identifying and neutralizing the culprit into more general hand-holding? That night had been a key turning point in the mind of the stalker, but in a way, had it been one for Philippa and him too? Trust me, he has taken a picture, and it's important to find out which one it is, who it is. Okay, you ask her. She likes you, Gerard said. William brightened at the thought. This was valuable intelligence. She says you remind her of Hugh Grant in 4 Weddings. His craving for her appeared to be surviving the onslaught of the totalitarian regimes storming the staircase. Then he sank into gloom again. The Sokas had found no signs of forced entry, so one theory would be that the intruder knew the layout of her home well enough to bypass her extra security. William was beginning to wonder if he was a former intimate, because of all the different types of stalkers, ex-lovers were the most likely to become violent in any future pestering. But until now, this pursuer had seemed either more psychotic or suffering from some kind of sexual deviance. So let me get this straight. The reason this punk, who hasn't put a foot wrong to date, pricked himself in his agitation was, Gerard ruffled his resistant hair, that he shared the excitement of the voyeur, William explained. Peeping Toms have an itch that can never be scratched because they believe something is forever being hidden from them. And then there was the contents of the handbag. William needed a peek at her kitchen to confirm his qualms that Philippa was covering up something from him, and perhaps even hiding it from herself. But how to engineer that inspection elsewhere in the house without arousing the AC's suspicions, especially as the psychiatrist was getting a sense that Philippa didn't forgive easily, just like her friends on the stairs.